And again, I'm going to throw this question to the group at large. So we're talking about trust being very, very critical when it comes to customer data and driving this to customer intimacy. Are we looking, say, Avik just said, 15 years down the line, a model which is currently purely transactional based to a model which is going to be empathy based for the customer? Do we see that transition happening? Is that what we're talking about when we talk about hyper personalization, which is we're talking about data democracy for all customers? Is that what the future is going to look like, with the regulators coming in play, consumers becoming more aware of who they're sharing, what they're sharing, and banks playing the pivotal role, kind of catering to the trust factor? I just want to throw this question out. Shri, do you want to take that up? You're on
See,
mute.
you're on mute. Yeah.
Yes, I can take that up. You raise it's actually a central point to decisioning, right? Trust is the essence, a rock solid essence of banking, both from the bankers' trust towards customers and the customers' perception of trust towards where they put their hard-earned money, debit money, as well as take credits and so on. In my experience at PayPal in their AI machine learning risk team, I was privileged to be in a place where even PayPal was looking at mobile as a newfangled thing. This was way back when, a decade ago, because most of our business was on the web. And when I'm essentially a telecom engineer prior to my stint at PayPal. So I knew the richness of data that the device, the network, and so on provided. And when I got back and I was like, hey, you may want to use these attributes or a combination of these attributes in your decision making, there was resistance even at PayPal, supposed to be one of the leading data wranglers, right, in the industry then. And it took me 2 or 3 years of convincing and a huge fraud loss that happened because of the lack of the capability. And our team actually built the world's first device fingerprinting and identification program ahead of vendors out there. And today, now there are a dime a dozen vendors, but we have our own proprietary, PayPal has its own proprietary infrastructure. The thing that we saw immediately, the gains that we saw immediately, and of course, we take the consent of the user and so on and so forth. And this consent is different than the marketing consent. See, the risk, fraud, and financial data collection consent is completely just because of regulatory needs, other than the marketing consent, right? And the marketing folks always wanted our data, and we couldn't provide it. It's like an iron wall around that. But interestingly, inside, there was a generational shift in our decision making. Previously, if you look at just in simple terms, you had the seemingly bad guys and the seemingly good guys, and there was a large amount of gray where you didn't know who these guys really were in terms of scoring. That was not essentially, good, because that gray, the larger the gray portion, meant the more you were indecisive about offering either a good treatment or a bad treatment to these guys. But the minute we launched our device fingerprinting, and the minute when we saw a ramp in the usage of mobile services, we could actually shrink that gray zone in the decision making, at least on the risk side, right? What that means is we knew who are the bad guys and we knew who are the good guys, and so the trust factor actually increased. Now that is PayPal. It was a fintech, and we have a lot of incoming, right? New incoming. With respect to banking, it's actually a more gradual organic growth, right? But at PayPal, all the bad guys would be coming in, even if there is a little vulnerability, right? But in banking, it's much more subdued because of the extensive onboarding that goes through. But the lesson learned is the more you know about your customer, you can be more confident in your decision making, right?
Sure.
So trust increases.